Hi everybody, just a few old lamps to show you today. I was hoping to get a new camcorder up and running, but unfortunately the one I got from eBay didn't work. The internal battery had packed up, so obviously they'll have to be sent back, but we'll be getting another one. Anyway, all I've done is popped upstairs and brought a box of some of the bulbs down. These are not ancient, but they are a few years old, various types. I'll go through them quickly. As I say, I hadn't done a video for a while, so I thought, well, I better put one up. So they're a mixture, and I'll quickly go through them, explaining where I can. I won't show them a light because they're not a light at the moment, obviously. Anyhow, let's hope that I'll try and make it interesting. The first bulb we come to is one which was provided for the outside light arrangement. I think it was a company called Norel. They made an outside light which used these type of bulbs. The bulb still works. I think you can just see the actual filament. And they're quite a robust bulb. Obviously a tungsten filament, like all of these are, well, the majority of them are, and probably old hat these days. Everyone else is going on to LED, but they were an old bulb. This was made abroad. It may be Japanese made, I'm not too sure, but it was made by a company called Norel. Anyway, I'm going to keep this fairly quick and to the point. Some years ago, I think it was probably the 60s or 70s, we in England, and the lamps were either by Philips or Osram, they tried to introduce the three-way light, which is quite common in America. You look at the base, it's got extra contact, and don't know if you can see the filaments inside, probably not, but there's two filaments inside, 40 watt and a 60 watt, and by turning the switch on the actual holder, which was specially made in America with the English adapter which would plug into our bayonet, so you just have the actual socket plugged into the bayonet with the bulb in it. There'd be a switch, twist switch, which you would turn. On the first turn it would give you the lowest light level. Second would be the next light level, a bit higher, and the third turn would bring in both filaments, which would give you 100 watts. This idea never caught off over here. Excuse me. It never caught on over here. But it was interesting to note the actual holders that we used for these was actually American made. They were American holders which have been adapted for English use, and obviously on 240 volt. You can see the top there, Philips. Next we have, and I'll show you what it's got on the box. I've picked up these things from various sources, boot sales, from other collectors, you name it. This is probably where they come from. Now this is the box says is an exciter lamp. It was used in the film business. Probably give you an idea what's on there. And in the box we had three lamps which were all the same. There's one of them. The filament is very, very small. I'm not going into the technical side, I'm just more or less showing these as an example of what is some of the bulbs that are in the collection. There's three of them there. exciting. I think their work with the way the film produces sound, I think it shines through a part of the film. I'm not 100% on that. Someone else will probably know. So comments please. Anyway, our next one, still on the film projectors, is the valve base projector lamp. It's brand new, it's never been used. You've got like a metal shield or reflector at the back there. You have your filaments. There's one continuous filament, but they're up and down, zigzag type filament. There's the name. This was made by a company called Atlas, which unfortunately are no longer in business. English. There's your base. It's actually like a valve base, and only go in one way. Two of the contacts would be to make the lamp work, and that was used in slide projectors, the older ones. Now, as I say, slide projectors are now old hat. We've got the projector types, so things have changed. In here we've got the box. I'm going to try and make these fairly quick. Feet Electric indoor reflector, 75 watt. These are American. It'd be 110 volts or 120. When I say American, they could well be made in China or somewhere like that, but they were sold for the American market. Feet Electric, high quality, 75 watt, 120 volt. That is a complete worker for indoor use. Nice little reflector lamp. This would be silvered on the other side, which would help to produce a beam. And what is interesting about this etch is not on the outside. It's the other side of the glass. That etch is actually inside, known as inside etch. I used to do this years ago. I might have another lamp with the inside etch, but for this one it was unusual. It doesn't say where it's made. I would think it was probably made abroad. Not 100%. The next one we come to is Endura, an old English firm. It's got a bit of history. As I say, I picked these up at various boot sales and that. Made in Great Britain, as the box suggests. Endura 40 watt, and the actual bulb is here. Just a standard 40 watt bulb, which was very common in England a few years ago, before this conservation and the fact you couldn't use these or you couldn't sell them. But anyway, I've got them in the collection. If I can show you what it's got on top there. I think you can see it. I'm hoping I haven't got it's upside down. There's the etch. Now that etch, which is not that clear, is an outside etch. It's not in the inside of the bulbs. In fact, I don't think England made lamps with an inside etch. Anyhow, it's Endura. That name I don't think exists now. Now, another boot sale I went to years ago. I'm trying to think where it was. I think it was near Southampton. I'm not sure, but I think it was near Southampton. We went to a boot sale, and in there was a box of these bulbs. Quite a few of them. And I looked at them, good grief, what are these being used for? 110 volts, they're American. As you can see, it's got a picture of Edison on it. He was one of the people that advanced the electric light. There was quite a few. There's quite a few names. He is one of them, which invented the lamp. It's got more light for less money. I don't know how they work that out, but they obviously do. Anyhow, the lamp itself is there, and the etch on the top looks like the normal outside etch. I have had one of these bulbs in the past, which I think I brought back from America when I was a kid, and that had the etch inside. There we, it's got the old GE mark. 130 volts, which they used on this made the lamps tend to last longer, so this would have normally been used on probably 120 volts, but by making them for 130, the filament would not be as bright, and it would obviously last quite a bit longer. I can put so many things, but I thought, well, I'll put a good selection in now. Coming further on, we've got a foreign lamp. It's 240 volt. These lamps were produced, I think, after the war. Japanese, not particularly well made. This one's actually got, as you see, it's a pearl innards or frosted. As far as I know, it's a worker. They were low wattage, about 25 watts, and I understand they were sold by Woolworths. I don't know, I wasn't about at the time. If I was only a tiny baby. Long time ago. So there we are, that was, and some of them, and this one hasn't got it I don't think, but a lot of them had the name foreign written on the top in the glass. It was etched in the glass with like a circle, with the name foreign in the circle. That one I don't think has got it. Up next we have a lamp which doesn't work, but I have got another one in the collection that does work. This is obviously made to look like a lantern. They were either made in tungsten filament like this one is, unfortunately it's burnt out, or they made them using a carbon filament, and obviously the carbon filaments are more rarer than the tungsten filaments. I have got an example of the carbon one, which is a worker, but this one is for show purposes. It does not work. So obviously a decorative lamp. I've got quite a few of these decorative lamps, not this particular type. I've got one or two of these, but not masses, but I have got quite a few of the other ones. And that would have been made for 240 volts. Now next up we've got the modern version of a tungsten lamp. Now this one I think was probably made after they brought the law in about not making tungsten lamps. I think it's probably made abroad. Now on it, it's got the name Crompton. Now Crompton was a very well known make. The older Crompton lamps used to have the name Crompton in writing. It was actually written across the top. It was in what I call real writing, Crompton. This one is a modern version of it. It's got the European sign on it, CE 240, I think it's 150 watts. Crompton lamps, possibly made abroad. It's an unusual envelope. It's not the exactly size that you'd expect, the shape that you'd expect to find it. Can't see inside. But there are an example of something made abroad. Crompton did make some very good stuff. Now we're slowly getting to the end. We've got a little indicator, well, I think it's an indicator bulb. It's a lamp that uses candelabra base. It's slightly bigger than the miniature Edison screw. It's candelabra. They were used mainly in America. I think Japan used them as well. We in England tend not to use this size, although in the old, I say the old days, probably the 60s, 70s, lift buttons outside used that type of size of a cap with a smaller glass bulb, but they use that size cap. It's a worker. I think it's on 120 volts. But there is a little decorative bulb. We've got another lamp here, which if I can show the filament, yeah, I hope the filament's showing alright. This has a pre-focus base. It's obviously, it's got the broad arrow. That's Atlas 24 volts, 30 watt. It was obviously used in the, well, it was a government lamp. It could have been the forces or anything, but it's a broad arrow. That's a sign which means it was government. There's the number. Somewhere you can probably look that number up and it tells you exactly what it is. Looks like 995 4402 it looks like. But that base is known as a pre-focus. Brand new, never ever been used, but obviously vintage, it's old. As much as there's the filament, I think they call this an axial filament. And up next, we've got another little tiny lamp, which that's also got a pre-focus type base. In fact, the same type of base as these ones I showed earlier. You've got some writing on there, if I can make it show up. Turn it round, it says Philips. There, I can't, unfortunately, can't see it too clear. It might come out better on the actual video. As I say, always ask anything you want to know. Ask. If I know the answer, I will get back to you. And the last bulb in this little lot is a silvered bulb lamp, if you like. It's silver. They were intended to throw the light upwards, and as you can see, the filament's all intact. The silvered part is on the outside and on the inside, and when this lights up, it would throw the light up. It's like an incandescent, what they call it. There is a word they use. It means that you're looking at the light, but it's been reflected up onto the ceiling. Unusual again. This uses the small Edison cap, which compare that. If I was to put that down, you can see that it is slightly larger than the American candelabra. That small Edison screw. The standard Edison screw is that size, and the Goliath Edison screw, or Mogul, which I haven't got a lamp to show you, is much larger. I say much larger, it is larger. Anyhow, that is all for this time. Any questions, please ask. Please subscribe. And hopefully I'll get back to you. So I'm hoping that I will be able to show you this new camcorder. The main idea is to be able to use that on a tripod, and I'll have both my hands free. At the moment I'm holding the camera, which means I've only got one hand to use, or I can use it with a tripod, but it'll be easier with the other one, and we can look inside some of the phones, clocks, do a little bit of work sowing seeds. So there's many things I can do and show you, so we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, I'm going to stop rabbiting on, and once again thanks for watching, and I'll come back with another video fairly soon. Thank you.